Alright, hello, welcome to part 23 of Let's Play Case Closed, the Mirapolis investigation. I'm iGotSpammer9000, and, last time we, what did we do? We collected clues, all of the clues, for the, third and final clue chain of Act 3. Nick at No Walkthroughs is not with me today, as he has been for the last 4 or 5 parts. But, so now all that's left to do is, do the clue chain, and we get to watch a bunch of cutscenes and finish Act 3. I don't mean that lightning, because clue chains suck. Is Linda really the murderer? Might be a good idea to look into things a little more. So, we have to look into a few possibilities. Criteria to commit murder. No. So, is Linda the murderer? Let's see. I'm trying to think. Strange stepladder. Linda the murderer. Yay for cutting. Linda can't stand water. She could hopefully be next one. Oh, and I gave up on the whole clue chain thing. My original plan was to have it where, like, I would keep backing out after I saved at my max save point. No. Like, I'd save where I hadn't messed up my clue chain ever. Then if I got it wrong, I'd reload the save. No. It's not worth that much trouble. Yep. See, this is why I don't care, because the game doesn't tell you. It should tell you this from the beginning, even though it doesn't even help. Oh, when you highlight one of the faces, it should tell you what you actually selected. Didn't I select that already? No, of course not. Why? Okay, so it's not Linda cannot stand water, even though that would make perfect sense. Who knew the show well? I think it's this thing. Criteria. No, of course not. Why would it be? I'm sorry, I really don't like the clue chains. And I couldn't tell you the answer because a walkthrough does not exist on the internet. It doesn't exist. You can't find it. I looked during this game and there never was one. Linda dislikes the ocean, maybe? Even though that's exactly the same thing as Linda doesn't like water, and yet it works. That makes no sense. I get the feeling this made a lot more sense in Japanese. The criteria for murder is this. This probably made a lot more sense in Japanese, and there was a lot less questions. And no, I'm wrong. Oh, so now we use Linda's afraid of water, even though it's the same thing as Linda's afraid of the ocean. Oh, God. No, I'm not as fun to listen to without a person here like Nick. If Linda isn't the murderer, then I better investigate who the real murderer is. And now, we have to say that I'm not going to click criteria for murder yet. During the show, I'm going to click Wexham check the hallway. Al was in the aisle. Oh, and the whole 4 thing? Yeah, that's the entire Act 4. Wexham check the hallway. People not in the audience. Man, it's windy out. Yeah. Al was in the aisle, and Keith is a murder suspect. 3. Nope, 2. Now, there's no way I'm gonna get 4 right. It's impossible. You can't. Oh my god, I did it. That's a first. Oh my god. Yes. Now it's criteria for murder. If it's not, I don't know what it is. There we go. And 6 people were positioned. The killer must be within this group. And that has to be the only clue left. And that would be who knew the show well. And then we get to watch cutscenes. Clue chains aren't that hard, they're just annoying. And they're much longer when I back out to the title screen every time I get something wrong. Is Linda really murdered? Could she possibly commit this crime? Well, I know that she hates water and isn't able to go near it. That means she's not capable. Couldn't she be lying about the whole thing to everyone? I mean, why is that never a possibility? You can read this. I'm sorry. I've read it already in my past playthrough. 6 people. Emily's dead. And Linda's afraid of water. What person? Okay. Why could we have done that before? So now we're going to Keith to check up on Emily's story.
Let's see.
Voice acting.
Now we should pay Keith a visit in order to double check Linda's story.
Did he not just say that? Ringing. Like no. Gay phone animation. That's the cheapest phone animation.
Hi, Katrina. What? Detective Moore is going to put on a detective show?
What?
You got it. The 2 of us will be there right away.
Oh god, he's an idiot.
She said Moore's gathering everyone involved together and is starting up a detective show.
Show?
Sounds terrible, though it will be alright as long as he doesn't use faulty reasoning.
And it's time for, you know, what happens in every episode ever? The wristwatch. Look, the first real-ish time. Motion command. Another murder has occurred. 3 people have now been killed. Members of Mirage decided to put on an illusion soul to try to end the unblindness atmosphere. I can't talk today. I never can talk. It's weird. And you had to do commentary. It's not weird. Emily Hill was murdered on stage. Richard decided Emily was killed by Linda Hill, her sister. Oh my god. Well, this means we're at the end of Act 3. First 2 victims were... Okay. According to Mr. Waxon, Mr. Chase was being threatened by and paying money to suspicious people for several years. Relation between them and Emily. Linda. How can someone that was peculiar... There was something... Somebody said there was something peculiar about Linda directly before the murder. This one? Yeah. According to Al, when Linda returned after fixing her makeup, she didn't speak a word. If the real Linda was a killer, I don't think she'd act suspiciously on purpose. I could definitely see that person having a reason for not speaking. Is as follows. Yep. 6 people. Emily's excluded because she's dead. No, she killed herself. That wasn't Linda. I'll probably do what she said in the labyrinth. She said, it's that person. If you flash back, you probably don't remember, because neither did I the first time, but looking back and having played through it again, she said, she was like, gasp, that person. Well, now it's time for...
The Sleeping Richard detective show is finally about to begin, right? My heart's already pounding.
God, I don't want to listen to her.
But where is he? Oh, over there. Huh? That's not right.
Looks like he isn't sleeping. Ha! Because Conan hasn't shot him yet.
The same person killed both Jess Rayburn and Jim Ogre in the first and second murders.
Yep.
And a different person killed Emily Hill in the third murder.
Oh, that's exactly the same conclusion we came to.
Just as I suspected.
Oh, actually, wait, no. That's what we expected him to say.
Saying, we all know that the person who murdered
He's such an
Emily was
idiot.
you, Linda.
How does he get along being a detective?
Wait a minute. Isn't it way too early to be deciding that Linda is the killer?
When she was little, Linda almost drowned in a pond, so she can't stand being next to water. The sight of a pond or a river is too scary for her, so she can't even stand to go near them. That would also include a water tank, right?
Ha.
Actually, the boy's right, Mr. Moore.
Owned.
What? What are you talking about?
Subtitle fail.
Linda, I'm sorry for doubting you. When I remembered that you're scared of water, I realized that you couldn't have committed the murder.
In short, Linda couldn't get close to the water.
He's such an idiot. Oh my
Because of
god.
that, you're saying she couldn't have carried out the murder.
Yes, she's innocent.
I'm sorry to say, but I don't think that's good enough evidence to prove she...
Why is that?
Well, that's
Linda
what Lonnie
could
was
just
kind
be
of saying.
saying that she hates water, so it's hardly irrefutable evidence. First of all, Linda told us that at the time of the murder, she was in her room and not performing on stage. But then who could that have been up there with Emily executing all those acrobatics?
Then...
Well, putting aside Emily's murder, we still have to look at the first and second killings. And the culprit is... Mr. Chase. I believe it was you.
What?
From time to time, Ms. Rayburn and Mr. Ogre were paying you a visit to blackmail you for money. Someone tipped me off to that.
What? Al, how could you? Did you forget how I helped you by shouldering your debts? How could you backstab me?
I'm sorry, sir. It's just, with you involved in murder, even though you really saved me,
Forget it! Al, you're fired!
What? Fired?
All the debt I took on for you. You'd better pay it all back immediately!
Let's proceed. Mr. Chase, Rayburn and Ogre had something on you and were blackmailing you, isn't that so? Then they showed up at the opening event for the Mirapolis, something you've staked your whole life on. You then decided that you could no longer allow them to live.
Hey, wait right there! I have an alibi! When Miss Rayburn was murdered, I was in my office with Miss Wexham, my secretary.
Sorry, but that alibi has also been undone.
What? Meg, no way. You too?
Ms. Wexham told me everything. Mr. Chase, you asked her to give a false alibi. Also, by your request, she wired money to Rayburn and Ogre's bank accounts several times in the past. I'm guessing that you committed the first killing, Ms. Rayburn's murder, on an impulse. At the end of an argument, you strangled the victim by her neck and murdered her.
No, that's not true!
It was then only a matter of time until Mr. Ogre would learn about the crime you committed. You then decided to kill Ogre as well. This time you would carry out a premeditated murder. Leaving that message at the scene, it looked like the culprit was someone who bore a grudge against you. You made yourself look like a victim to appear that you too were being targeted.
But when Mr. Ogre was murdered, I was showing some guests around with my wife. I had no opportunity to get close to him to switch the throat spray with the bottle that contained the poison.
No, you had a chance. Mr. Chase, you killed Ogre after he collapsed, not beforehand.
What do you mean?
First, you made Ogre drink something laced with sleeping medicine. You also then invited him to the labyrinth. He fell down as the drug took effect. As if to tend to him, you then drew near and put the poison in his mouth. The person who killed Ms. Rayburn and Mr. Ogre was you, Mr. Chase. More than anything, not calling the police after the two of them were killed proves that you did it.
No, that's wrong. I didn't kill anyone. I didn't call the police for a different reason.
Then allow me to hear all about that so-called reason in my room.
What?
Until the police come, I'll be watching you closely. In this room, we'd be disturbing your wife, Utako. Let's move to my room.
Jack.
For the rest of you, it's okay now to return to your rooms. However, if you take even one step outside of your rooms, or leave without permission, I'll also be forced to keep an eye on you as well.
Oh my, Mr. Chase is the killer!
What could it be? Linda can't stand water, but what about those acrobatics on stage? Who else could have done that?
Hey, there is one other person. Other than Linda, the only one capable of that would be...
Really?
Jess Rayburn, Jim Ogre, and Emily Hill were all murdered by the same person. The real killer is that person, but to really nail down that person, I need some definitive evidence.